Oh, yeah.
So if the countdown is right, we should be live and we should be like slowly getting the audience into the room, in the virtual room. So while everybody is coming in and taking a seat, I want to take the chance to welcome our two first guests, Bob and Mauricio. Thanks for being here.
Hey
Thank
guys.
you. Hi.
So distance is no matter for us. We made it possible that you guys join anyways. So I'm situated here or located in Cologne. Where are you guys at?
I'm in Berlin.
I'm in The Hague, the Netherlands.
Perfect. So we have an international crowd here in the speaker audience. So when you guys come in, feel free to say hi right into the chat if everything is fine, if the audio works fine, if the visuals are fine, and especially like from where you're joining. So we had in the past, and I know I repeat myself, but in the past we had people joining from Dubai, from Portugal, a lot from different places in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So please say hi and where you're from. And while everybody's coming in, I will take the chance to quickly give an introduction. So we're here at Merchant Inspiration Live, and this week is everything about larger shops and what is actually possible on Shopify Plus and what is possible in a more complex e-commerce situation. So in the very beginning of the week, we talked a little bit about the pros and cons of Shopify Plus, then about like what is actually possible on Shopify Plus. Yesterday, we had this talk about headless commerce where Martin showed a little bit about this approach, and today and tomorrow will be about like hands-on examples on what that actually means. And that's why I'm really happy to have you two here, and I give you the word in the stage in a minute, but it's really cool to have now real examples and like merchants and agencies and merchants who work together and like showing how it's possible to migrate to Shopify and what's possible on Shopify. So that's amazing. Today, as I mentioned, all about those two guys and their story on how to migrate to Shopify Plus, the real story of a German brand deciding to move over, especially in this case, URBANARA. And before I hand over quickly, in case somebody should not know me, well, first of all, of course, this entire presentation and webinar is about you guys. So whatever question comes into your mind, please feel free to share it. We have this chat here where you can write your questions or your comments in. And then we have this question panel over there also where you can write your questions in and upvote also others' questions. So it's all about you guys interacting and asking the questions you want to know. Quickly about me, I'm Adrian, Shopify expert at Tante E. So we also help people to move over to Shopify. But again, today is about you two. So I would quickly, before you go into the presentation, give a word to you, Bob, to say something about you and who you are and why you're here.
Yeah, this will be also in the presentation. So you'll hear this in a minute. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And then the other person is also Mauricio. I guessed it's also in the presentation. So
yeah, it's also in the presentation. So
perfect. All right. Then let's go over to the presentation. I will mute myself and deactivate my camera. I'll be back later to organize the questions. For now, I would say like the stage is yours, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much for the introduction and welcome everybody. I can't really see how many people we have already. I don't know if that's good or bad, so I'll just keep it like that, I guess. Yeah, so I guess we can start introducing ourselves. I can, Bob, you wanna? Yeah, cool. Yeah. So I guess if people have problem seeing the screens, you can let us know. So Adrian will be in the background. My name is Mauricio. I come originally from Mexico, been living here in Berlin for 4 years now. And I work in the product management team for a company called URBANARA. This company was founded almost 10 years ago. And we are in the e-commerce industry within the home and living branch. So URBANARA sells stuff like bed sheets and rugs, which are two of our biggest categories. But we also have lamps in our website. We have slowly being active with furniture pieces and so on and so forth. I invite you to explore yourselves what we have, really nice stuff. and I got to know Bob about a year and a half ago, and Bob is a counterpart of this presentation and the reason why URBANARA has been successfully developing on Shopify since almost 2 years now, right, Bob?
Yeah,
it's going to be 2 years in July, I think.
For some time.
Yeah. So yeah, that's more or less about me. I guess we can go into more detail later on. That's a screenshot of how our current homepage looks. As you can see, there are a few bed linen and pillow covers in display there. But I invite you to explore the website and of course give us some feedback on what you think about that.
Okay. Thank you, Mauricio. Then it's me. I'm Bob from Code in the Netherlands. We have a company for 15 years now, young, I think, at this age, and we have always started with, as every company, with websites and web shops, and we always used our own software because when we started, so like in 2004 or 5, there was no Shopify, there was no Magento, no WordPress, or very small. So we have built our own software. But 3.5 years, and we are now with 30 developers, a little more, totally focused on Shopify. We discovered this platform almost 4 years ago. And until then, we were building a lot of things like web shops, websites, big data applications. We did a lot, and we felt the need for some focus. And then via I came into contact with a Shopify website, and actually we liked it a lot. We liked it so much that we turned the whole company to Shopify. Then slowly after that, we were asked by Shopify itself to become a Shopify Plus agency, which we were very proud of, and we were one of the first in mainland Europe. So if we do not count the UK, but they were Brexit, so we thought we were the first. And what we do with Shopify, 2 things. We do bespoke, so like I sometimes say Italian suit Shopify front ends. It's 70 to 80% of the work we do. So we go beyond. We love the Shopify theme store, super nice themes, but we go a little bit beyond that. Like most Shopify Plus agencies do, they develop their own theme. And as we have a history of complex front-end applications and websites, we can do that pretty nicely. And next to that, we are building our public and private Shopify apps. We also built one for URBANARA, where we connect to their fulfillment. And we have now proudly the 2 first public apps, and soon a 3rd and 4th, and so on. We still like the platform a lot. We don't think it's per se the best platform. We cannot say that, but we think the marriage between our company and Shopify is very happy because we like the way it's developed, and together we can make nice stuff. So, and I have a very short movie about our office. It's very empty now because of the crisis, of course. Everybody's working from home, but we try to get people in. We don't know if this is the right way, but we try to find new developers and project managers. This is our building, which is nice. And we use, of course, Shopify. And we are the provider of this. Our name is Code, so. And here we're trying to get this on the internet and get to find project manager. If anyone's interested, a few of our team members. So that's nice. Okay. And I'll give it now back to Mauricio.
The way we have designed this presentation, guys, is so you can have a bit of an overview of what the process was for us as a brand to migrate from a shop system into Shopify. And I want to be very punctual on the topics that I want to touch and leave rather space at the end if you have concerns or have questions and would like to clarify, fears you may have about a new platform that you haven't heard or used before. So the reason URBANARA decided to migrate to another shop system was because our legacy shop had come to a point where it was difficult for us to continue developing on more features. And if we have people in the audience that work with custom built shop systems, you might have heard, the old story of having a monolith of code that doesn't allow you to touch an area without breaking 15 other areas. So that naturally reduces your flexibility and your capacity to react to feature requests, basically, which is an everyday thing for us product managers, and which is naturally has an impact on the conversion and the usability of the page. So that was the first point that was really affecting us. On the other hand, Bob, if you can click the second point, our conversion rate specifically in mobile was super low, and the reason was our shop system did not natively support responsive web design, which is this ability, so to say, of a website to resize elements for different device sizes. So you would have a good look of a shop. You might have visited an online page where everything looks so tiny you can't even read. That's the case of a shop that is not responsive ready. And so it was important for us to improve on that area because half of our traffic was coming onto our shop on mobile. So we were losing a lot, a lot of money. And the third point was that once the management had decided that we needed a new system, the initial idea was that we would build again something on a new platform, but again custom built. And what that triggered was a massive list of feature requests from all the units within the company that wanted to have a presence, so to say, on the website. And that turned out to be a roadmap that was just not feasible to do, considering that the IT teams within a company are not necessarily the cheapest ones. So maintaining a shop that was purely like custom built or maintained by an internal team was very costly. And on the other hand, like I said at the beginning, the list of the features that we had from all of our teams was so big that we were not getting to the point where we could say, okay, we have a launch date and it's going to happen. We were postponing this date over and over again, and that naturally increases the costs, right? You have to keep paying everybody for coming to work. Yeah, so I think we can move on to the next slide, Bob, which is yours.
Okay, thank you, Richard. So project preparation, a few things which happened along the way. So yeah, URBANARA found us, we got a call from Germany via the Shopify Plus website where you get a mention as your Plus partner. Of course, we were very happy about that. At that time, now there are, of course, there were no Shopify Plus agencies in Germany, and URBANARA told us, because we asked them, why do you come to us? Because we're in the Netherlands and you are in Germany. And correct me if wrong, but we know that German people do not easily shop outside Germany. That's the knowledge we think have in the Netherlands, which is totally fine. So we were very proud that we could have a lead from all the way from Germany. So they went to us, and because they were the nearest Shopify Plus agency. Then we had a lot of calls. So a lot of detailed calls. I think some were over 3 hours, and we got to every point, everything we needed to do and needed to prepare to move URBANARA over. A lot of questions. Sometimes we didn't have the answer, and we had to go back and search it and go back to URBANARA. And also, it's quite a big company, so we prepared everything very securely and detailed.
Very detailed.
Very detailed, yeah. And also, what I like, we were talking from the beginning. Yeah, we're going to meet. But you know how this goes. So you come to Berlin, or you come to the Netherlands, or to The Hague, or to Amsterdam, where we have offices. But actually, only a little close to a year after we have launched, we finally met Mauricio and other people from URBANARA in person on the Shopify Pursuit in Berlin, which was in 2018. So still, we think you can work successfully remote, which we like. And after this, we did many other German clients, so that's nice. And even now from Los Angeles and other places. But mostly 80% of our work is in the Netherlands. Mm-hmm. Development, this is interesting. So as we are called Code, we are coding, and we actually do not design ourselves. Sometimes a little bit. So we have a focus on just code, and we get Photoshop or sketch files from focused design agencies, and URBANARA came already with a pretty nice design, which looks a bit like it is now. It has evolved, but it's now what you see now, and we got that, so we could start almost immediately. So that's what I just said. Sorry for this. Then an important point came, because Shopify is actually, for a company like URBANARA, I think is actually quite cheap to develop. We do not have to develop a backend, so we just only have to do the front end and some backend stuff. Like I always say, the shopping cart's already there, the hosting is already there, and also Shopify is not very expensive for a company like URBANARA, for $2,000 a month on Shopify Plus. And we often see that bigger companies find it are a bit suspicious. How can a cheap platform outperform like maybe Shopper or Magento, which is much more costly? This is just things we hear and when we do the sales. Another thing we did here, which I'd like to tell you, because we actually copied this strategy to new clients after URBANARA. So to convince a large management or a big company, we do this strategy. We try to launch we call them not so important region first. And with URBANARA, they told us we can launch safely in Austria, because there's not much traffic there yet, right? And we don't care about the sales we do there, but we care about how the platform works. And then we'll see if we like it. And if we like it, we move on. And maybe if there are any merchants in this call or listening, this is actually quite a good strategy. We use a lot now. So after success and after running 1 month, correct me if I'm wrong, Mauricio, but I think something like that, after 1 month, then they said, yeah, we did an important meeting. I see this meeting room, important meeting, and what do we see? And it's stable, and we can sell. Actually, they sold also some stuff, of course. And then we launched the most important one, the German website, and later UK and other websites. And we always launch a Shopify shop on Shopify Plus per region. We don't do country, but more region. And to make use of the regionality, but that's maybe a different talk we can do later in the questions. But we like that a lot, that approach. We don't see it's only another language. No, it's another other people. It's different. Every country is different, or region. And what I also like to mention is we work in sprints at Code. So we have like fixed sprints from 40 to 60 hours, and we needed around 12 sprints to get the first version online. And URBANARA keeps sprinting with us, right? And we keep on developing and make them very successful. And we do all kinds of stuff, which you can see now on the website. And now we are already at sprint 39. And yeah, I think that is nice. And it says we have a good relationship to develop further and further. And I will give the screen back to Mauricio.
Yeah, great.
So you can control it yourself.
There we go. All right, Bob, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. You have to let me know if it's not working.
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
I can only see my screen now. Okay, so when we were getting ready for launch, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, one of the topics that was making this project super long and that was increasing the costs of self-building an in-house software was the amount of features that everybody wanted to have on the website from our legacy shop. Features like having a wish list or being able to put two products in a comparison box, or maybe having those little color swatches so you can see the availability of variants within each of the products. And so when I started with URBANARA, none of these features were there. And I remember in my interview with Robert, our current CEO, one of the questions that he made to me was, this is the list that we have of features that we want to develop. How would you prioritize them? And then I thought, oh God, this is going to take ages, right? I came from a company that hosted their own operating system, meaning they had an internal IT team and we were developing everything in-house. And when I had a look at the features list, I thought, I'm going to die in this company. This is going to take forever. But luckily it wasn't. I'm not sure how familiar the audience is with the ecosystem of applications in Shopify, but you have to picture it as any other app shop, like whether you have an Android or an iOS phone. The application ecosystem is just a universe of services that you can acquire and simply plug into your store and start working with it. Now, the level of complexity is something that we could debate not debate, but discuss more profoundly, depending on what the needs of your shop is. But it's basically just the availability that you have on applications is immense and it's continuously growing. So that's one topic that I want to show you. There's a little video that I want to show you how easy it is to just integrate a new application and test it out. And the second thing that I wanted to point out in regards to the ease of use of Shopify is the number of tools that Shopify has just out of the box. And the reason why they have so many tools is because they're constantly developing on state-of-the-art technologies and requests that they know people will need on e-commerce, right? So this is basically a platform where you can sell stuff, and they want to make sure that you have all the tools that you need from the beginning so you can easily sell and focus on your products and not on the platform itself. They take care of the platform, you take care of your business. That's more or less the idea, right? So I'm going to start with the applications ecosystem. I did a very short video just for you to see more or less how it works. So when you're in the back end, please excuse the quality of this. I swear this was not my fault. It was Google Drive who compressed this thing. But you get the idea. There is a landing page where you can search for an application. So you simply type in whatever service that you're looking for. If you want to build pages, then you type in content creator or page builder or something, and then you get a list of all the applications that are available in regard to that. You may base your search on reviews or on price or, I don't know, on the features that this application offers. You just add the application, you install it to your store, there you were forwarded to the store, and then you just install the app. And once you have installed the app, it's most of the times ready to go. Like I said, every shop and every application has different levels of complexity. So it depends on every case, right? But basically, it's many times as simple as that, especially if you have a reduced inventory in terms of numbers of products or number of pages, for example. So the smaller the shop, the easier or the less things you have to worry about. And I took just 3 examples, really. I wanted to leave this open to you guys and ask about particular questions you may have at the end of the presentation. But one of the things that I remember struggling a lot about in my previous company was the integration of new payment gateways. There are different service providers for processing payments, which you integrate in the checkout phase of the buying experience. And Shopify has developed now a payment processing service that you can integrate by just filling out a form, giving your bank account so they can deposit the money to your account, or you can search for a better deal outside of Shopify. URBANARA works in particular with a provider from the Netherlands, for example. We've made a good relationship. We've created a good relationship with them, and they're just wonderful and easy to integrate. Another thing that comes out of the box is the creation of collections. So once you have uploaded your products into your backend, Shopify gives you the possibility to either automatically populate these collections via tags, which is the next point, or by manually selecting the products. So it's really simple to use. It's very intuitive, and I wanted to give you the example of the tagging with something more graphical. So this is like a little module that you will see in the back end of your shop within a product, and this helps you in many ways. It can help you in, for example, creating collections, like I just said, where you would just type in here the name of the collection where you want this to appear, and then when you create your collection, you say, please insert all the products that contain this tag. But it could also help you in adding filters, for example, if you have created a logic in the front end to consider all the products or attributes within your products that contain a certain information, like a color or a size or something like that. So it's very easy to use, and it's also very useful because you can, like I said, implement it either on backend or front-end logic, and it's super intuitive. And yeah, Bob mentioned we are now in Sprint 39, which has been, I want to say a long way, but it hasn't felt so. I think that we have found a good relationship between both teams. We're continuously developing on our app portfolio. Sometimes we install applications to test them out, see if they bring any more value to our current strategy or the shop in general. And we have also improved or enlarged the capacity of either applications that we got from the Shopify ecosystem, or from applications that code built for our particular shop, which is the case of our backend application that connects to our warehouse, for example. And as an example of new applications, we are about to integrate a return management application that code developed and is public now. So the backend application we have is private, of course, because it's only for us, but they also have this new application that we're going to start using, so our customer service can manage the returns in the backend directly with this app and make things much faster to process and less manual. And that's about it, guys. I'm sure there are many topics that we won't be able to cover today, but we want to hear what you think, if there are specific questions you may have, and if we don't have enough time today, I'd be more than happy to answer your questions after. I don't know, is there a way, Adrian, if you're there, is there?
Yeah, I'm back.
Can we share, or can I share like my email address with you guys?
Sure. You can like write, for example, your email address into the chat, so people can see your email address there. So anybody who has questions afterwards to you can put it into the chat. I know you're short on time and you are basically have to jump running to the next call, I think, right? But like maybe we can have the time to address some questions. There are coming already some questions in, so like feel free to ask those questions, and also feel free to vote them up. I actually want, before all the questions come in, one question, like, so it was around 2 years ago that you basically did this move of like moving to Shopify Plus, right? At that time, basically Shopify was not that big heard of in Germany. So was it like, did you guys, it could be considered as a brave move, first mover of going to Shopify. Now you see more and more cases and it's more common, you have references and so on. But was it like, did you guys have like questions or like doubts of doing this move? Or were you like, okay, I'm going all in?
I hadn't heard of Shopify before, if that answers your question. So my mind was full of questions. I didn't know. I mean, of course, I have heard of it. I was in the e-commerce industry before that too, and Shopify was one of the options we had considered back then in this other company that I was working for. So I knew it was a shopping platform, but I didn't know it. I didn't know the backend. I had never seen what it was capable of doing. So I think it was a brave move simply because nobody knew the platform, and many of the features that we were aiming at having in the shop were available, but none of us knew, what was the flexibility of them for us to manipulate according to our needs, for example, or if they would, do weird stuff to our code base. We didn't know how they were going to react. There was little knowledge, so to say. Even if when I went back to our success manager as a Shopify Plus merchant, you're assigned to a success manager that is in constant communication with you and tries to guide you in terms of strategy and so on. And sometimes I would be like, hey, Lewis, what do I do with this? What kind of application would you recommend me for this particular use case? And he would say, I'll have to ask. I have heard of a couple of examples, but I'm not sure. So it did feel a bit uncertain at the beginning, but I have to say that with the time, it feels more and more stable and solid, and you can see that there is a lot of engagement from the Shopify team itself to provide the requests and the features that people need on e-commerce, right? And I think a very clear example is the checkout. The checkout might not be as flexible as you would want it to be, but then again, it's impossible to break it. So your downtime how do you say the downtime time? Do you say that? Mm-hmm. Is close to zero. You always have a working checkout. So why? And it's, you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So why would you want to change it? So I don't know. Maybe it was a brave move. Maybe it was a bit uncertain. But I don't think anyone in the company regrets it so far.
But what was your perspective on it? How did you get them to consider even Shopify? Or is it like something general you see?
Yeah, what I see mostly and what I see myself is that Shopify, if you go to shopify.nl or .de, it still looks a bit like Lego Duplo, right? Like children's toys. Does it look like enterprise? And I also know that they only push Shopify Plus in the UK, especially in 2018. And now more and more they're going to push that to mainland Europe. But I think most people are not aware that it can handle so many orders per minute, and it is so stable and so
Totally
tough to break. Again, what Rachel says. So yeah, and still, so if there are any people in the audience, you can do like I think 8,000 orders per minute. That's like insane.
Mm-hmm.
And it will still not break. So, but I think the promotion is not on par with US and Canada, where they do much more promotion to Shopify Plus.
So it's like a question of perception a little bit. Like a lot of people don't know about the strength and so on. All right. So we're here to do something.
Yeah.
So we do something against those perceptions and like bring clear messages into the world of what Shopify can do and what not. So Jens actually asked, what was your main reason for deciding for Shopify Plus instead of Shopify without Plus? So basically he asked, why did you decide for Shopify Plus directly instead of just like considering maybe Shopify without the Plus? He said, like, so basic version versus Shopify Plus. What was the reason?
I think basically the reason wasn't the number of orders that we had monthly.
I think it's simply for URBANARA, it's simply cheaper to go to Shopify Plus in the amount of orders. So
that on the one hand, and I think the other reason, Bob, was the multi-country launch that we wanted to do.
Yeah, so that maybe it's like a good question from Andreas coming in also then like picking up on that. Do you make use of the automations from Shopify Plus? Do they work well?
What sort of automations?
So I guess like there's like, because the other days we talked about like, for example, Shopify flows and then scripts and like some other ways on how to automate some certain like processes in the background.
Yeah, totally. And not only from Shopify, we use, for example, an app called Smart Tags, and that's super useful. We have a lot of automated processes there. We also use Shopify Flow for our two-man handling products and for something else. We have at least 2 processes running on Shopify Flow. So yes, we do use the automation apps that they have internally.
What's your perspective on that, Bob? On like how good is like the tools of like Flow, scripts, and so on Shopify?
Flow is very useful. We have this client who sells products where there's a lot of fraud, by credit cards, and they do this brilliant thing. I think so they automatically fulfill the orders, but only if it looks suspicious. They tag it and they do not accept the payment. So if someone orders like sneakers, but they order suddenly 20 sneakers, who's going to order 20 sneakers, right? Mm-hmm. Then they tag it with Shopify Flow to unpaid, and do not accept the payment. And then they manually look at that order. Then you can see, hey.
And then a person actually checks then and like makes sure whether that makes sense or not. And so like they have this kind of checking process for like only specific suspicious orders.
Yeah, only so one in a few thousand. So it's not a lot of work.
Yeah,
but they can manage those, because it's very hard to get that money back and the sneakers back. People know that.
Nice.
It happens a lot on expensive sneakers. Yeah.
Laura actually asked, and that's like was also one question I wanted to raise, because yesterday we had Martin with us from Ask Phil, and he basically said that if you want to sell to multiple countries, at least like 4 or 5, then it doesn't make sense, or like doesn't make too much sense to use Shopify, like the normal Shopify Plus front end, but you should go headless. So the question from Laura is now, listening to you guys and knowing that like URBANARA is selling to multiple countries, are you using headless commerce because the product detail pages look very customized? Example given, you can choose between the pillow and the blanket, or using special apps for this product pages?
I'm gonna take that as a compliment, Laura. And no, we don't use headless. You choose between pillow and the blanket.
Exactly, because like yesterday, Martin basically said, if you want to sell to multiple countries, then like it's getting a lot of work to use Shopify. So, what's your take on that? Is it a lot of work, or is it like totally fine to have this multiple stores per country?
I think that would be rather a question for the technical side, maybe more in the direction of Bob. But what I have seen so far is that Code has managed to come up with a process where any new development that we do is built on a code base that is then rolled out into the different channels. So sometimes we have very slight differences between the different countries, but it's more or less the same capabilities that we roll out on all the shops, on all the live shops, so we can stay with so they're all the time the same, right? So we have as little differences as possible to make it easier to maintain.
Yeah, my take on it's a nice discussion. It happens a lot. I think headless is very nice if you have like one or two products, the same presentation to different countries. But with a company like URBANARA with many shops and other clients of ours, we feel it's not another country, it's not another language, it's regionality. And if you look at statistics and demographics, people visiting your website, it can totally different. We see that from the Netherlands and Germany. And you should make use of that. And a very nice example, I can maybe put a link in the chat, is from Simba Mattresses, also on Shopify. We haven't built this, but so they sell this mattress, right? And they have like 8 Shopify shops, and they all look different for every country. And they discovered, I find this a funny story, that people in Germany, correct me if I'm wrong, Mauricio, but they tend to, actually from Mexico, but to sleep. If they are a couple, they tend to sleep on 2 separate mattresses. Instead of the Netherlands and all other countries, they like to have one mattress, right? If you're a couple. So what did they do? They all their presentation and the website in Germany is totally focused on Germany. So they promote the 2 mattresses system much more than the 1 mattress. That's why they are successful. And I think they did 100 million in 3 years or something. So also different payment methods which you use, of course. We see in Germany much more Amazon Pay, much more important, which we do not use in the Netherlands. Also, we even see if we connect an app like Klaviyo. So we use Klaviyo also, and the app is also divided in separate sections. So we have for every shop a different Klaviyo account. And we see that abandoned cart rates are different. So in Germany, you have to do 4 hours after not buying the product. And in the Netherlands, maybe 1 hour. So you can focus on. And the third thing, which I think is important, that almost none of the apps are multilingual. So then you get a lot of trouble. So, but there's something to say for both solutions. And with Code, we said, okay, there's so much Shopify work. We try to do Shopify as good as we can. Oh, one more. We also think you de-SaaS, Shopify SaaS, right? But you de-SaaS Shopify if you go to headless. So you pay for Shopify, but the new things they develop, like now sections everywhere where you can build like showroom, you can build it's coming. You do not make use of that. You cannot make use of those.
And you cannot make use of the apps, and you cannot make use of a lot of other like key strengths of Shopify, right?
But again, I've seen super successful also by our company Netherlands Askville. They focus on headless, and super nice examples. And I think if you sell a few products and only the language matters, then headless is the way to go. Maybe.
Okay, that's good. That's a good new standpoint or point of view, because like yesterday was basically okay, if you really want to go individual, if you really want to internationalize, you have to go headless, and now it's a good example of like you don't have to be headless in order to be successful internationally. You can also do amazing things to the product page, to everything of the store. You can localize perfectly, as URBANARA shows, and so you guys are not headless and are a good living example of how everything works also without with a head.
Yeah, with a head.
All right, then there's another question from Laura. Actually, also, does URBANARA use ERP or warehouse system, or does Code recommend any?
We don't have an ERP system. We have a PIM, a product management tool, and product information management, and we use the order management system from our warehouse. So yeah, we don't have ERP. We work with a tool called Akeneo.
Bob, do you have any ERP you usually recommend because it's really nicely integrated to Shopify?
Well, the one we see the most is the combination with NetSuite. We see the most with our clients. So
Okay.
we don't do ERPs. We do fulfillment connectors, but no ERP. And the biggest clients of ours mostly use NetSuite, and they're very successful. So I think
NetSuite. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a lot of like WeClap. At least like we got in touch with a lot of like WeClap, for example, as an ERP system. But I think it always depends a little bit on then the individual needs of the client and so on. And so it's tough to say a general thing. Then Jens asked, are you using Shopify for the whole order management, including returns and refunds?
Yes, I mean, when the refunds come into the warehouse, then we depend on the system from the warehouse to get the status of the products. And then we take over that, we see that the products are in good condition, and then we trigger another status so we can continue with the following step, which would be the how do you say that? Erstattung, the money back, right? Mm-hmm. The refund. Yes, what was part of the question?
So basically the question was, let me go back. So using Shopify for the whole order management, like so if you use the Shopify system and the functionalities from Shopify offered for the order management.
As of now, yes. So there's the management, what I said at the beginning, the warehouse. There is Shopify for triggering the second step of the new status. And then we have an accounting application that we use for the accounting department where we have to register the refunds as well. And from hopefully next week, we will be integrating this other tool to automate the returns management and make it a bit easier for our customer service colleagues. But as of now, it's only Shopify and the warehouse mainly.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, Laura added like the comment. Okay, she dropped the link of like the one with Bettdeckenbezug Rosa Leinen Mafalda. That was the one she really liked apparently from the product pages. But based on the product link structure or URL, it's definitely a product page because it's like URBANARA/product/Bettdeckenbezug Rosa Leinen. So there's not it's a usual product page.
Got it. Yeah, that's one. It's a good example of the features that I was talking to you about that you can build based on tags. So what we have done here, Laura, is we have added in the backend what we call a complementary product on a base product. So our base product is the bed linen that you see, this Mafalda product. And then in the backend, we add a tag of the handle. The handle is what you see after the / products, that Bettdeckenbezug, Rosa, la la la. Those are unique pieces of the URL. So that handle we add as a tag in the backend to the product. And then we custom developed the logic that says, whenever you display this product in the front end, consider the tag that you have saved, if there is any, and then display the product and its variants so customers can see both things at the same time.
Cool. So it's a little bit of coding involved, but it's totally done within the Shopify framework.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right. Looking at the watch, and I know you guys are busy, and we're already like a little bit over your time. I think, Mauricio, you had a call already like a couple of minutes ago, but you took the time to stay with us.
They know I'm not coming.
All right, but like so far, we've addressed the questions coming for the audience. So we have you in the chat. We have the contact from you And so anybody who has questions, feel free to reach out to those two guys. You guys are also on LinkedIn, so one can find you there. And thank you guys so much for the time, for the insights, for sharing your wisdom. And it was the second last time of Merchant Inspiration Live. So tomorrow will be the very last episode. So I'm very thankful for you two guys to be part of this historic moment. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys in the audience for being here. We'll see each other hopefully tomorrow, and if not, check out our YouTube channel where all the episodes from like the last 5 weeks are there. Last words from you guys, Mauricio, Bob.
Well, thank you, Adrian. Really nice. It's a bit strange if you present and you don't get any feedback from the audience. But I hope people liked it. So
you get used to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So anybody who wants to reach out to those, write down the email, and we see you guys tomorrow or at some other day.
Thank you, Adrian.
Take care. We have 8 seconds, so you can still smile 8 seconds into the audience.